Good morning. This is Joanna Rochester, and this is Real Talk Wellness Renegades. Today I want to talk to you about stress. So many of us are going through so much stress lately, in particular our kids, the teenagers, and I'm seeing more and more in my practice people that are coming to me not only for themselves but also for their teenagers and even younger, and they're experiencing all these symptoms of stress without really realizing it. A lot of people are coming and saying, I'm finding that I'm really anxious, or my kids are really anxious, and what do you do about it? You don't want to put people on anxiety meds, but there is so much that can be done naturally, and that's what I want to explore with you today, because so much of what's taking place in the world is this shift to, getting to know yourselves better, to having more time to understand yourself. And so the more we can understand ourselves and natural therapies and how to use natural therapies to help heal ourselves, then the better off we'll be, because we are all designed to heal ourselves. We've just forgotten how. And as a wellness renegade, I teach people how to utilize natural therapies to heal themselves. Medicine should always be integrated, but ideally we turn to natural therapies first, and then we look at, more Western medicine after that. So this is Real Talk Wellness Renegades, Joanna Rochester, and this is part of Speak Up and Empower. Speak Up and Empower's online community of people that are focused on sharing their wisdom, their knowledge, their expertise with those that are looking for more information, for better wealth, better health, whatever you're looking for in your life. So stress. So one of the biggest things with stress, we're going to talk about a few things, the symptoms of stress, and not the symptoms of stress because we know what those symptoms are, but one of the huge impacts of stress in our lives is we start to get adrenal fatigue, not so much insufficiency, because that's more of a physical imbalance that's present, but the actual stress impacts us, because when we're under stress, we release a lot of a lot of hormones. And those hormones, a continuous release of hormones, has an impact upon our adrenals. And our adrenals are what control a lot of different functions in our body. They help control our blood pressure. They help control, excuse me, sorry. They start to control, sorry, all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank here. They help regulate blood sugar levels. That's what I was looking for. Regulate blood pressure. They help us respond to stress rather than reacting to stress. And it helps our bodies burn fat and protein. So if your adrenals are fatigued and not able to produce the hormones that they usually produce, then you're going to be having a lot of issues. And some of the symptoms of adrenal fatigue are insomnia, but also feeling exhausted all the time. Often you'll wake up in the morning and you'll feel tired, but yet have a lot of energy at the end of the day. Some of the other symptoms include perhaps when you get up from sitting down that you feel lightheadedness, a little bit shaky. There's a lot of brain fog with the adrenals. A lot of the symptoms actually sound a lot similar to perimenopause and menopause. And there would be similarities because of the different hormones that are affected through both of these imbalances. So fatigue, poor stress response. So, if you feel overstimulated a lot, overwhelmed a lot, that you're really reacting to situations a lot, it could be because your adrenals are tired. You could have a cravings for salts or sweets. Could be compromised immune system. So you could be getting sick a lot, colds, flus, infections, there's all kinds of symptoms of when your immune system is compromised. And also a loss of body hair, it could be in part because on your head, but also in your body. If you've noticed that you have less body hair, it could be because your adrenals are fatigued. And so, how do you deal with something like this? And this is a really challenging thing because, how do we deal with stress? Because stress is how we react to a situation. When we can learn to respond instead, then we can change our lives. And this is an ongoing journey. And I spend a lot of time with people talking about being the observer in their life and noticing things, right? Noticing what your body's telling you, noticing what your thoughts are, noticing your emotions, and becoming aware, being curious about what your body is telling you, what your thoughts are telling you, what your emotions are trying to show to you, because everything that happens in your life is a feedback loop. I'm irritated by this. Well, what about that irritates me? My body responds in this way. Well, why is that? Is that a sensitivity to it? Or is it that I'm allergic to it? I shouldn't be eating processed foods. Everything that happens, it's a feedback loop. And the more you can be that observer and be curious about what's going on in your body, the more you can understand what you're being shown. Because, we have so many things to be stressed out about, especially kids in school, teenagers, right? Being away from their friends from so many months at a time, dealing with homeschooling and all the headaches that are associated with that, not only from the teenager perspective or the kid's perspective, but from the adult's perspective, who have to actually do the homeschooling and the teachers and everything like that. So there is a lot of stress, and there's also a collective consciousness stress. If you watch the news a lot, or you read newspapers, or you're talking with people, right? What do we talk about? All the stressful things that are going on in the world. And the more we talk about those stressful things, the more we can get caught up in what's going on. And that can affect us and affect our blood pressure and get us worried more than perhaps we ever would. And that will cause stress, and that will cause adrenal fatigue, and that can cause anxiety, depression, insomnia, all these things that I mentioned. So it's a real cycle, it's a real circle. And the more you can be aware of it and pay attention, the more you can do something about it. So, how do you deal with stress? Well, once again, stress is how we react. So if we can be that observer and be able to pay attention and understand what stresses us out and why we're responding in a different way, the more that we can start to, let go of the way that we respond to different things. And the more we can move away from those situations that we do get stressed out about. I can remember before, I would get so stressed out with my kids and, get really upset, and it had nothing to do with them. But in that moment, and because I was not conscious and I wasn't as aware as I should have been, could have been, would have been, the more, I would just go down a rabbit hole and get all caught up. And because, I didn't understand in part what was going on, and I didn't have the time to go back and take a look and understand what was happening, what was stressing me out. And that caused stress in and of itself. And, I can remember my ex saying, what is the matter? And I don't know. But the more you can step back and actually be able to observe yourself, and then ask, what was really going on, the more you can learn to change the way you learn to respond. And breath work is huge here in for every aspect of our lives, because so many of us are wanting to move forward, to become more conscious, to become more aware. And we do that when we're in the moment, when we're living right now and we're consciously aware of what's going on. And so our breath, deep breath, fills up our brain, fills up our body, slows us down, brings us back into the moment, and allows us to be aware and to understand what's being presented in front of us, and to pay attention to what my body's showing me, and how do I, change the way I respond. There also is so many other ways. One of the things I wanted to comment, the difference between adrenal fatigue and adrenal insufficiency. So insufficiency, once again, I mentioned this at the very start, but insufficiency, so Addison's disease, is an insufficiency of your body's ability to produce, or for the adrenals to function. And it's different than fatigue brought on by stress. So if you've been told you have adrenal insufficiency, that is different from adrenal fatigue. It is kind of, it's not semantics, but it kind of is. But most people will have the adrenal fatigue as opposed to adrenal insufficiency. And it's challenging to really understand it, especially when I see it with the teenagers, as mentioned, because we often think, so much of it is not, we get stress, but to think that our kids are actually reaching that point where their adrenals are fatigued at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's just astounding. But it's the impact of the world and what's going on within it and the huge changes. Suicide rates are huge, and it's something that the more that we are aware as adults, then we can take a look at what's going on with our kids, because there are lots of changes. We can help guide them through learning to deal with stress differently. We can also look at their diet, right? If we pull out those processed foods, if we pull out the sugars have a huge impact upon our stress levels and upon our adrenal fatigue levels. Look at, a high protein, whole grain, lots of veggies diet, right? It's something that we all know, and it can be challenging for kids. But the more, once we become aware that our kids are dealing with a lot of anxiety and we think it might be related to adrenal fatigue, it is important to take a look at their diet and see how you can try and change things. And once again, do things from a natural perspective. Diet has a huge impact upon us. All the preservatives in the foods and the high fat, all these things make it a challenge for our bodies to deal with the avalanche of hormones that are released when we're under stress. Our liver becomes less able to handle that release of toxins and deal with it. And once again, it's a huge cycle about what's going on if our liver's not functioning properly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So take a look at possibly changing their diet or adding things to their diet or pulling things out, especially if you've noticed that anxiety. And not just for the kids, but for yourself, because we are all going through this, a stressful time in this world. You can also look at supplements such as B vitamins, C vitamins. Stress causes free radicals in our body, and those free radicals cause damage. They can be aging, etc. So they have a big impact upon us. Also, magnesium. Magnesium is an amazing supplement, and the majority of the population has a deficiency of it. So if you can look at magnesium intake, I like magnesium bisglycinate. And as I think it's the one that's most readily absorbed within the body. But I take a bisglycinate most days, but some days I take a liquid, which is a mix of different magnesiums. It just depends what works for you. Some people don't like the taste of the liquid magnesium. You can get magnesium powder to add to a water. Sometimes I drink a drink every morning and I add it to that also. So the magnesium, also Siberian ginseng could be a good way. Once again, speaking to your primary care physician or working with an alternative care specialist, but always, check in and make sure there's no contraindications with any of the meds that you're already taking or, anything else that's going on. And magnesium, some people like to take magnesium at night before they go to bed. So calcium causes your muscles to contract and magnesium causes them to release. So people that have trouble, they fall asleep, but they wake up. People that have restless legs, people that have muscle cramps a lot, other problems sleeping can be as a result of a low magnesium level within your body. So considering upping your magnesium, and typically what's in a multivitamin is not going to be enough to make a difference. And so with regards to sleep there, melatonin, if you are challenged to fall asleep, then you'll need the melatonin. But if you fall asleep and then wake up again, could be the magnesium. And it's not a be all or end all, but it's a place to start. So consider those vitamins and supplements. And to decrease stress, the breath work, as I mentioned, once again, you can feel it yourself. As soon as you breathe a deep belly breath, where your abdomen, your belly expands and then your abdomen contracts as you breathe out, you can feel your body everything just slows down and you have more brain or more oxygen in your brain so you can function at a higher level. It's just so important. Put a timer on your phone for 5 times a day. And every time that goes off, just take 5 deep belly breaths and you'll get into a habit of it and start to remember. And to make it a habit of when you're under stress to breathe. And allow yourself to come back to the present, come back to the moment. Meditation, another great tool for this, right? Meditation slows us down. It allows us to come back into the present, into the moment. It slows down our brain, slows down our body. There's all kinds of studies out there that, regular meditation, 10 to 15 minutes a day, can help it will actually increase parts of the weight of your brain. It helps, especially the frontal lobe where emotions are dealt with. It can help increase the size of that. So it has a huge impact upon you. And it doesn't have to be just clearing your mind, right? You can sit there and stare at a candle if you can focus on that. And every time your thoughts wander, just bring them back without any judgment. I love guided meditations. They're a great way to be focused and listen to someone's words and to be guided in a direction. So meditation is huge. Practices such as Reiki, right, that slows down your brain, slows down your body, allows you to rejuvenate yourself. And other, Reiki, massage, anything that just gets you to slow down, stop, be present, mindfulness meditation, the breath work, exercise. Any exercise is amazing for your body. It gets all the systems flowing, your lymph system moving, allows a release, absorption. It has a huge impact, as you know, upon yourself, your mental, emotional, and physical state. Getting out and walking in nature and all the negative ions that are released and balances yourself, and hug a tree. Right? I think it's one of the best things that most people can do for themselves. Go out and, if you don't want to hug the tree, then put your back up against a big tree and just feel it. It doesn't have to be a big tree, but a lot of times it's easier to just stand there and feel the energy of the energy flowing through the tree, and ask a question, and you'll likely get an answer, like probably just a one-word answer at first, but you can connect with the trees. And mindfulness, slowing down, being present, all these things help to reduce stress and help you change how you respond to stress. Getting unplugged as much as possible. It's a challenge, right? In this day and age, we're back a little bit more out of lockdown, so that makes it easier. But, for months and months and months, we've been staring at screens, TV, computer, laptop, whatever it is. We've been spending so much time in front of screens, and here I am talking in front of screens, but that's beside the point. But it is so important, especially if you're challenged to fall asleep at night. And then you will be, part of it, could be because you're spending too much time in front of the screens before you go to bed. If you do feel you need, like I read my iPad before I go to bed, but I put the natural light on, I turn down the light, I turn off the other lights in the room and things like that, so that you're only, it's not stimulating you. It's those lights, people have been wearing the blue glasses, to counteract the effects of lights. So there's so many things that you can do with regards to that, but getting off those screens, not watching TV, not listening to music. Well, you can listen to music, but ideally it's like a precursor to the sleep music. But, getting off anything that overstimulates you can help you get a better sleep, because that sleep is so important on so many different levels. That, if you're not getting your REM sleep, you're not getting enough deep sleep, then you won't be able to, your body's not being allowed to do the work that it needs to do to detoxify, to clear out the different organ systems, everything like that, allow your brain to slow down and function and clear out its own junk that's taking place. So, once again, get that good night's sleep. It will help you. And it is a challenge for people, especially if you've got adrenal fatigue, because you probably have some insomnia, right? But if you're getting more exercise, you're sleeping better, you're learning to change how stress affects you and how you deal with stress, then you will move towards getting a better sleep. With regards to sleep, I should mention, there are some great sleeping remedies that are a combination of the melatonin and the magnesium that you would take half an hour or an hour before you go to sleep. So you could try something like that. There's also, from a homeopathic standpoint, there's some amazing homeopathic remedies. And, I'm not going to just throw some out there because it really depends upon what your symptoms are, even with the supplements, the melatonin, the magnesium. It's important to work with a homeopathic specialist, someone who knows homeopathy, or a naturopath who has had homeopathic, well, they all have homeopathic training, but who works with homeopathic remedies, because they can be very effective, right? Once again, like, homeopathic remedies are all natural. The way that they work is that homeopathic remedies are based upon the law of similar. So like cures like. So if you've got insomnia, I'm going to actually give you a remedy that if you're healthy and took the remedy, you would start to develop insomnia symptoms. It's different with Western medicine. If you have insomnia, they're going to get you something that forces you to go to sleep. But so that's a law of opposites, whereas homeopathy is a law of similars. Homeopathy is based upon stimulating your body to heal itself. So give yourself a remedy that stimulates your body to heal itself from a lack of sleep. And that's the way that works. And huge impact on so many things if you get back into a regular sleep cycle. And what's a regular sleep cycle? Well, that is kind of different for everyone. Ideally, you're going to go to bed between 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And typically, according to scientists, the best sleep that you can get is between 10 and midnight. But, I don't get that. I don't usually go to bed till midnight. But, usually I do get 5, 6, 7 hours sleep a night. And so, that works for me. But, if you only get 3 or 4 hours sleep, it's probably challenging for you, but I would encourage you to, do all the processes to try and get a better night's sleep. Try the magnesium, try the melatonin, try a homeopathic remedy, and, get more exercise, because that'll help you sleep, turn off the screens, everything like that, because it has a huge impact upon you and upon your adrenals and that adrenal fatigue. Because once again, so often, so much of what happens overnight is allowing our bodies to recover and to rejuvenate and to rebalance themselves. And so if you can start to rebalance yourself, then you can start to, deal a bit better with the stress and the fatigue, and coming back to all of the things that I mentioned. So if you have been experiencing some of the symptoms that I talked about, the insomnia, the exhaustion in the morning, lots of energy at night, getting up and, feeling a brain fog or dizziness, having a lot of brain fog, it could be that your adrenals are fatigued. And, we talked about a whole bunch of the things, but if you have any other questions or would like more information, please reach out to me. You can check out my YouTube channel as below, Soul Alchemist, or my website, JoannaRochester.com, or I'm on Facebook, in a whole bunch of places, Joanna Rochester, Wellness Renegades, everything like that. So, but if you have any other questions or looking for information about anything that I talked about, please reach out. And if you have any topics you'd like covered, I'd love to hear from you. If you go to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. And otherwise, have a great day. This has been Real Talk Wellness Renegades. I'm Joanna Rochester, and this is on Speak Up and Empower. Speak Up and Empower is an online community of heart-centered people that are focused on creating a world that they envision for themselves. For me, it's a place where people use natural therapies to learn how to heal themselves and to bring themselves to more in their life, more joy, better health, better wellness, all those things. So have an amazing day, and I'll see you next Tuesday at 10:30. But, or other than that, I am going to be connecting with Elsa Winterkorn at 2 o'clock today on her Facebook page. And we're going to be talking about thyroid issues, hyper, Graves' disease, Hashimoto, etc. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye.